I know you've seen them before. They seem to be all over town. Poke restaurants, right? Well, poke restaurants have popped up from a place called Hawaii. And I recently went to Hawaii and I want to share with you a recipe for poke. Only I'm not going to use raw fish. I'm going to use something else and something better. So please stay with me. I recently took a trip to the beautiful island of Oahu, and there were poke restaurants all over the place, just like they are in my own hometown, only poke comes from Hawaii. And it refers to the main feature of this dish, which is fish, raw fish. So I thought it's such a pretty dish. It's really a one bowl meal. And it's so colorful. I wanted to come up with a dish to share with you that is made from plants. Now, I eat plants as my main source of nutrition. I don't eat any animal foods. And I thought tofu would be a great substitute for fish in this recipe. So what we're going to do today is put together a poke bowl made from all plants. Now we're going to start with a pickle, and I want to make a quick pickle and show you how to do that. I'm starting with the Persian cucumber. These are really good cucumbers, only thing is that they don't last long in your refrigerator. And what we're going to do is slice up this cucumber, and I'm going to use a lemon juice and a little bit of maple syrup to make a quick pickle. Now you can keep these pickles in the refrigerator for a couple of days, or you can eat them, within the short amount of time that you make them, like I'm going to do right now. So here we go. And I'm just going to finish cutting that up. The thing about a poke bowl is that you want a lot of colors and a lot of different flavors, and you like a layering of flavors because the rice at the bottom, we're going to use brown rice. It's bland, so it's going to depend a lot on the sauce and the different things that you're going to put on top. So we're going to add a little bit of fresh lemon juice. That's about the juice of one big California lemon, and a little bit of maple syrup. And I'm going to add just a little bit of salt, and I'm going to stir that up. Now, I've made this before at home and kept it in the refrigerator for a couple days, and it keeps very well. It stays crispy, and it just absorbs more of the lemon juice the longer you let it set. Okay. So we're just going to set that aside. And we're going to look at the tofu now. Now, I like to use extra firm tofu because it holds its shape. And you can use firm. If you use soft, it falls apart a little bit more. So you can use if you use silken, it's going to fall apart. The silken and the soft tofus are better for things like sauces or cheesecake or desserts and things like that. Now, if you're going to make a stir fry, it's better to use something like the extra firm tofu. Now at home, I don't have a tofu press. I have a lot of gadgets and I don't need any more. So all I do is to get the excess water is, first of all, you want to rinse your tofu, and then you want to try to get as much excess water out by letting it sit on a paper towel or a hand towel, and as long as you have time to let it sit. Otherwise, use it right out of the container and it's not a problem. We're going to bake this tofu, and really it'll work however you do it. It's going to work. There's no magic to this recipe. I like to cut my tofu into 32 squares. So I cut it lengthwise, and then I cut it 4 ways, lengthwise again, and 4 ways crosswise, and we've got 32 squares. So these are a nice size piece because when you bake them, they actually shrink. So we're going to put these in a pan just because I'm going to add a little bit of a marinade to them to give them some flavor. We are going to do a couple of layers of flavor on this tofu because, again, we want this bowl to taste really good. So we're going to start our marinade with Bragg's liquid aminos. This is just a soy sauce substitute. You can use soy sauce if you like. It's about 1/4 cup, and I've got a little bit of garlic here that I'm going to add, probably about a clove of garlic. And we're going to add just a little bit for flavor. I like a little bit of sesame oil when I'm making Asian foods. So just about a teaspoon or so of sesame oil. And also I'm going to add a little bit of arrowroot powder. Now the arrowroot powder is just to help, again, coat the tofu. And you can also use cornstarch if you don't have arrowroot powder. So I'm just going to mix that together. And I'm going to use a little wire whisk, because that will work a little bit better, so you don't have any lumps of the arrowroot. Okay. And then I'm just going to pour that right on my tofu. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and use my hands because I want that sauce all over the tofu. Baking tofu is really easy. I do it all the time at home. I like to bake a whole cube like this, and then I keep it in my refrigerator. It's there ready to put in. You could put it in stir fries, like I said, or you can use it if you have a wrap. You want to put it in a wrap, or you can just eat it plain. I just love it, and it's such a great source of calcium, protein, and antioxidants. So what we're going to do now, the longer you let it sit in the marinade, the better it's going to taste. But we're going to, for time's sake, we're just going to go ahead and place these on our cookie sheet because we're going to bake it. Now, I like to bake it at a higher temperature, at about 400. And you could bake it from anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. And I like it golden brown. So you want to separate the pieces apart so that they get browned all around. And that's ready to go into the oven. Now, I've already baked a sheet of tofu, and I'm going to pull that out and show you what that looks like. This is still warm, and it's been sitting in the oven. So you can see this is nicely browned, and I'm yet going to add another layer of flavors. So as soon as I make one of my sauces, I'm going to mix it with one of my sauces to add more flavor. So we're going to move this, and I want to say a word about the base of the poke. Now you can go, if you go to any of the restaurants around town, you're going to find they have different bases. They have white rice, and they have a lot of them do have brown rice, which is really great. You could use quinoa. You could use, if you want to kind of cut back on calories, you can even use greens as a base. I like to use brown rice. I know a lot of people have a hard time adjusting to eating brown rice, but I want to talk for a minute about the benefits of eating whole grains like brown rice. You know, there are many people in this country and in Western countries that are struggling with diabetes. And a recent study that was published in 2023 showed that what they did is they looked at 184 different countries, and they looked at the diabetes, and they found that there were 70% of the people that had type 2 diabetes, they could attribute it to 3 things. One of them was not eating enough whole grains. The second one was that people ate too much white rice and white bread and white pasta. So in other words, refined grains. And the third one was that they ate too much processed meats. Now, whole grains are really important because they have parts to them that are full of nutrients that when they're processed, those nutrients are lost. So there's 3 basic parts to a grain. When you eat the white rice, you're eating the endosperm. and you've lost the bran and the germ. Now those two parts, the bran and the germ, are full of nutrients. And these nutrients are so important. They keep our bodies, they protect our bodies from getting diseases like heart disease, hypertension, cancer, and diabetes. So it's really important to eat the whole grain. Now, when you buy bread in the store, you're looking at, sometimes it says whole wheat or it says wheat, and you really have to look closely at the label. Just what you're getting, because sometimes it says whole grain when it's really not a whole grain. So that first ingredient is really important, that it says 100% whole wheat or whole grain. Now, the American government even says that we should make half of our grains whole. So even the American government is on board with this, but I think we can even do better than half of our grains. And you get used to it with time, but really it's like, to me, it's like if you eat a lot of these refined grains, it's like going out into a rainstorm without a raincoat. So it's just that our body doesn't have the ability to protect itself from diseases. So without these nutrients that are so important, especially what we call phytonutrients. These phytonutrients are especially important in whole grains. Now, you lose most of them when you start milling the grains and taking out the bran and the germ. Okay, so we're going to use, I've made some short grain brown rice for this recipe, and that is going to go into the base of our bowl. But first, before we do that, we're going to make some sauces. I think one of the most fun parts of this is sauces, and one of the most important parts of this recipe is our sauce. So I actually came up with three different kinds of sauce, because I'm going to use two of them in this recipe, and I wanted to show you that there are ways of making different kinds of sauce, because everybody has their different taste buds. The first one that we're going to make is based on sesame tahini. Now, tahini is made from sesame seeds. It's like peanuts are to peanut butter, sesame seeds are to sesame tahini. And I buy it in the big jar because I use it a lot. I buy this at a Middle Eastern store. Here in the Western countries, we don't eat it quite as much as they do in Middle Eastern countries. In fact, they eat it quite often in a lot of different ways. So I think it's good for us to learn how to use tahini more often. It's a great source of calcium, protein, fiber, and other really important minerals. So we're going to use tahini. I've got 1/4 cup of tahini. And now you can really use this same sauce as a salad dressing. Tahini with lemon is really a great combination with some herbs. Makes a really wonderful salad dressing. So it pairs well with lemon. It also pairs well with sweet. So in the Middle East, one way that they eat tahini is they pour it in a bowl and they drizzle a little bit of molasses over it. Now, this is another Middle Eastern product. This is grape molasses. I bought it because it's only got one ingredient, which makes me happy, and that's just grapes. So what they've done is taken the grape juice and they've just boiled off the liquid and concentrated it. So it's a little bit more natural, has more nutrients in it than, say, something like, like white sugar. I think it's a nice, it pairs well with the tahini. You can just drizzle a little bit of the molasses over the tahini and dip whole wheat bread and pita bread in there. It's really delicious. So I wanted to share that with you. So we're going to make this sauce starting with tahini, and our other ingredients include garlic, and you can never go wrong with garlic. And that's about a teaspoon of garlic or 1 clove. And we've also got some fresh ginger. These are both nutritionally dense foods. So ginger and garlic, they're anti-inflammatory, they're antibacterial. So these are wonderful foods if you like them to season your food. We've got a little bit of maple syrup. That's about a tablespoon of maple syrup, and some lemon juice, and a little bit of Bragg's for a salty flavor. So I'm just going to whisk that up. So when you're mixing, if you're making a salad dressing and it turns out thick like this, you can just add water to it. If you want to make a salad dressing from it, just add a little bit of water to thin it down. I'm going to add a little bit of water here to make our sauce a little thinner. And if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to try tahini. You can even use it as on your bread instead of peanut butter. All right. And there we go. So in this recipe, you know, the sesame seeds do well with Asian foods. So we don't have to add, like we've added our sesame seed oil to some. We're going to add it to some of our other recipes. But here we have the natural sesame oil. It's got a nice flavor and it goes well with Asian flavors. So our second sauce is one of my favorites. It's peanut sauce. And we are going to use some of the same ingredients in this sauce, only we're going to add the sesame oil. So we're going to use some liquid aminos for our saltiness, some maple syrup, lemon juice, and we've got the sesame oil, and we've got our garlic and ginger. Now I use peanut sauce often. I use peanut sauce in stir fries. I love the flavor of it in Asian food. I went to Thailand and I really enjoy the flavor of peanuts. Now, your natural oils in peanuts, nuts, and seeds, those are healthy fats. Those are good for your heart. So you don't have to worry about, oh, they're fatty. It's good fat. If you're on a weight control diet, you can just use a moderate amount, but don't worry about the fat because it's contained in the whole food, and you're using the whole peanut, the whole sesame seed, and it comes with fiber. Now, all the foods that we're using really have a lot of fiber. That fiber is really good to help control your blood sugar, to help reduce your cholesterol, to help your bowels work well. Actually, it can help prevent heart disease and cancers. So fiber is really important. If you're not getting enough fiber, eat more plant foods. Fiber comes only from plants. It doesn't come in animal foods. So if you're eating a lot of animal foods, you're missing out because animal foods don't, like dairy products or eggs or meats, none of those have fiber in them. So it's really important for our bodies to get a lot of fiber. And that happens when you're eating foods like this. Okay, so we're getting this together nicely. And you can adjust these to your taste. Like I said, if you don't like ginger, you don't have to add it. Ginger you can store, in the freezer. If you buy it fresh and you buy too much of it, it keeps well in the freezer. Okay. All right, there we have our second sauce. And actually what I'm going to do with that peanut sauce is right now is I'm going to take my tofu and I'm going to glaze it with the peanut sauce. Now these have dried out, which is good. I like them dry and chewy. They're kind of chickeny because they were sitting in the oven. And I'm going to add a little bit of this peanut sauce. To coat, again, layering the flavors to coat my tofu. And I think what I'm also going to do, and I hadn't planned it, but I'm going to also sprinkle some sesame seeds on there. I think that will look nice and taste delicious. All right, so that is going to be ready for our bowl. Yum. Okay. All right, and our third sauce is based on a vegetarian mayonnaise. Now, for simplicity, I'm using a commercial mayonnaise, vegetarian mayonnaise, and you can make your own if you want. You can make it from the tofu that's like the silken tofu or the soft tofu. You can make it from cashews. So there are probably other things you can make it with. You can go online. There's lots of recipes, but for today, we're using just a commercial brand, and we're again going to add some of our similar ingredients. Lemon juice for a nice acid, and we like to balance that with a little bit of honey, or you could use honey or maple syrup. And we're going to add a little bit of the sesame oil, about a tablespoon, and some garlic, and about a clove of garlic, and some ginger. And if you want to make it a pretty color like red, you could add some paprika. That would make it pretty. But there you have it. A nice creamy sauce to go on our bowl. And that's what I'm going to use to top our bowl with. Now, all of the ingredients we're going to use to make our bowl with, they're all basically whole plant foods. And really, if I reviewed with you the health benefits, they almost all have similar health benefits because they're all plants, different colors. They have different phytochemicals in them, but all of them they have this property of being antioxidants. Now, what does that mean? That means that they help protect our body against oxidative stress. Now that comes from these free radicals that our bodies have that come from stress without and within. So it could come from disease, it can come from the sunlight, from pollution. There are all these different stressors that come into our lives, and our bodies are producing these free radicals. And if we're out of balance with our antioxidants, in other words, we need to get antioxidants every day. So it's really important that we eat a variety of fruits and vegetables every day. So we're going to put this bowl together, and there's our brown rice. And then we're going to put our tofu here. We're going to add our beautiful colors of vegetables. We've got our carrots and our radishes. Oh, we've got our cabbage. And we've got our edamame. And we are going to add a little bit of scallions. You could add whatever you like. I'm adding the things that I enjoy. Cilantro. And then we're going to add a little bit of, so let's add our sauce. Now it's really nice if you have a squeeze container to add the sauce. But I'm going to go ahead and drizzle it over. And that is yummy. And then we're going to top it with some black sesame seeds, which are really a nice crunch. And we've got some white sesame seeds. If you want to add avocado, you can add avocado. But let's go ahead and add our pickles, our pickled cucumbers. We're going to add those to the side here. And there you have it. Plant-based poke bowl. I hope you try it. I know you'll like it. When I was in Hawaii, I went and visited the Dole pineapple plantation, and I got kind of excited about making a pineapple freeze. So what I'm going to do is I've frozen 3 cups of pineapple, fresh pineapple, but you can buy it already frozen, about a half a cup of frozen mango, and I did this myself. And then we're going to add to it a cup of coconut milk. Now, this is the coconut milk that you find in containers like this. It's got a little bit less saturated fat than the canned, and about a cup of pineapple juice. And that's all the ingredients. Very simple for a nice, cool drink on a summer day. Let's see how we do. Okay, beautiful. This is great for kids and adults alike. No added sugar. Look how beautiful that is. All it is fruit, nutrient dense, full of antioxidants, vitamin C, potassium. I say that makes a great addition to your summer fun. Pineapple freeze. I hope you enjoy it.